Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Got a lot to get into today. Happy to do it with these two gentlemen. We've got Steve Baker, of course, Blaze Media's investigative reporter. Recently, case dismissed with prejudice. J6.
I like that word, with prejudice.
With prejudice. Screw you, old DOJ. Also, welcome to the show, Jason Buttrill, chief researcher of the Glenn Beck program, along with Sara Gonzales Unfiltered, foreign relations expert.
Right.
And I feel like you've been gone for a while, too.
Have I?
Yeah.
The more close we get, the more that Wednesday is further and further off every week. It just feels that way, I think.
Maybe it does. I don't know. Well, you were out of town, I think, too. So we've missed both of you.
Thank you.
All right. So did you guys see President Trump's video that he posted reimagining the Gaza Strip?
I've not seen this yet.
Oh my
Can't wait.
gosh, it's so good. Okay, let's just go ahead and play Donald Trump's, it's like an AI, reimagining the Gaza Strip as the Riviera of the Middle East. Watch.
Set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future.
It's like a Walmart Elon.
The deal is done. Trump Gaza,
Making it rain.
Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, number one.
That's good.
That's good, right?
Yeah.
Democrats.
Do we know who did that? I mean, I know it was AI, but who commissioned that?
I have no idea. You would imagine, Elon was featured in there quite a bit, so I don't know. We don't know who actually.
Well, Trump actually said that you would never catch me like that on a beach. And
Yeah.
And they showed him so you would think like AI would have known that.
Right. Or made him look maybe a little bit more slender.
Which he
does. That's what I was going to say. Which he does appear these days. I saw it. Yeah, there he is. Oh, I can't tell how slender that looks.
That's him and Netanyahu right there.
Yeah,
Straight sexy is all it is.
Right.
Well, I mean,
smell the sexy from here. It's man.
Jason, I didn't need that. Oh gosh. No, but to that point, you did see there was a picture of President Trump walking with Matt Gaetz the other day, and he literally is just aging backwards.
It looks like it.
It's crazy.
Usually the workload on presidents ages them significantly. Yes. Like if they didn't have gray hairs when they get out after 4 years, they have gray hair, but Trump, it doesn't seem to phase.
I remember seeing Obama and George Bush.
All of them.
I mean, Joe Biden looked like a corpse before he entered as president, but still, you get my point. Is like he's the one that he just somehow looks better after the first term and into the second term, even though there were 4 years in between those two also. So Democrats are really mad about this Trump Gaza video. They're saying, NPR was saying it's offensive. It's offensive and counterproductive to peace talks.
What would they know about peace talks?
That's a great point.
He's the only one that actually brought any kind of peace to the area with Abraham Accords.
It actually looks like Lebanon before, the war, before back in the 70s. Mm-hmm. That's what it looked like. It looked like a resort.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, would it be a bad thing to turn it into a tourist destination? I'm like, I don't understand what is counterproductive about that.
As your foreign policy expert,
Please.
I feel like I need to weigh in on this. But yeah, I think that what Trump is doing here, again, is just masterful. I mean, I don't know if we're going into any of the Ukraine mineral deal thing, but that's also very, very masterful as far as
please do.
concerned. But for this specifically, what Trump is doing is he's forcing other Arab nations to the table. He's forcing them to show their hypocrisy, for one, because for years and years and years, they've been very, very content with letting Israel suffer all the blame, and the rest of the Arab nations would stand back, pat Israel on the back in private, and say, "Yeah, well, we're every time these Palestinians have gone into our countries, crazy things happen. So keep doing what you're doing and contain them." But in public to their people, they'll be like, "Oh, I cannot believe this. This is an outrage. What's happening, in Gaza." Now Trump is forcing them in public to actually do something that would actually make a difference in Gaza and the Middle East. He's forcing them to have ownership of it. So you don't like that the United States is going to be embedded in Gaza and the United States is going to be responsible for, real change and bringing peace to this? Well, then do something about it. Do something about it. If they're not willing to do something about it, then the blame falls onto them. Pure and simple. Now, I've been reading up on how some of the Arab nations have been responding to this. And in public, they're doing what they usually do. To their own people, they're saying, look, obviously, we're not going to let this happen. Sure. We don't support this. But in private, there's not much they can say against it. There's really not, because they depend on us so much for everything they do over there. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that when push comes to shove, I don't think the Arab nations can actually do anything about it at all. I think if Trump wants to do this, I think it's going to happen. I really do.
Do you think he wants to do it?
I don't think he really wants to do it. I think that he wants to force them into a deal that the United States will probably benefit from, because everything is transactional now. Everything is interest related now. So I do think that a lot of American companies will benefit from some of the reconstruction, which it should, or they should at least have the opportunity to get involved. But I think that what he really wants is to have countries like Egypt or Jordan or UAE. Hell, look what UAE has done to Dubai. Yeah. Crying out loud. They could do a ton in Gaza. He's going to push it onto them and let them take, control of the reconstruction, as well as policing it, making sure that, Hamas terrorists aren't going crazy. The onus will be on them to do that. But I think that is kind of reading in between the lines on some of the 4D chess here. And I think the Democrats rightfully are irate because they don't want Trump to be the one that finally brings peace to this. Yeah. He doesn't want him with, the orange bad guy to come up with a solution that will go down in the history books as the moment where we brought peace to the Middle East. They don't want that to happen. So of course they're going to scream.
Sure. Yeah. Steve, what are your thoughts?
I would never predict peace in the Middle East, for starters. Yeah. I mean, you have to start there, in the long term.
That's not good enough, Steve. I want a date. Give me a date.
I know. You want a date when it's all over? Yeah. I mean, I did read the back of the book. Oh, I'm sorry. The other.
Not Revelations. No, we're not going there.
All right. Then.
No, Jason.
Sorry, that was my bad.
He can't control me.
Thank you.
As much as you try.
The show is Sara Gonzales Unfiltered.
Right. That's right.
I said, give me your opinion.
That's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there's not going to be peace like what you would want.
No, but as I mentioned earlier, I mean, Lebanon used to be the Riviera of the Mediterranean, and so was, I mean, for heaven's sake, Iran. Yeah. Afghanistan. All of these places, if you go back and look at the photography and the videography from the 50s, the 60s, early 70s, until the radicals came in, the Palestinian Authority, Hamas, Hezbollah, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, et cetera, they all looked like that. But then they plunged these countries into civil war and destroyed what prosperity they had. We used to love going over there and spending our money. James Bond used to film, in those areas, playing cards and, shaken, not stirred martinis. We don't get to do that anymore because of what the radicals have done there. If it gets replaced and goes back, I'm all for it.
The scourge of radical Islam. I mean, it really has.
You're so right. Exactly what it is.
There's Twitter accounts. There's just one woman, and in her bio it says, "My mama wore bikinis in Iran." Back before in the 70s, and straight up she shows pictures of her mom back then, and you're like, "This is Iran? You gotta be kidding me!" It's just absolutely catastrophic what radical Islam has done to that entire region. It's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, well, you'd have to imagine though. You would be a better person to talk about this, but I'm just thinking. These people live in squalor. I don't know that anyone would be like, wow, it would be a terrible thing to the people who actually live there, the people who, you would call Palestinians, would they be directly opposed to cleaning that area up and maybe go, you know what I mean? I don't know that they would be so attached to it that they would not benefit from going somewhere else.
Yeah, I think that the people that live there now, it's been generations of radicalization. So I'm really at a loss for how you manage those people going forward, because you have people now that are adults that they went through grade school there and they were given machine guns and told to go kill Jews.
Yeah.
That's what you're dealing with.
Right.
And,
That's true.
the current children there, that's what they've been brought up on right now. So I really don't know what you're going to have to do. I think that defeating Hamas in totality is absolutely important and vital. So I cringe every time I see these Hamas peace deals where they're going to release 1,000 Hamas soldiers and 2 Israeli hostages, get released in a return. I hate that. I wish that the gloves would fully just come off and they would just go in and completely clean out Hamas, and then it would be done. When that happens, similar to Japan in World War II, when they were radicalized as well, the Japanese were. It took 2 nuclear bombs and they became de-radicalized pretty fast.
That'll jerk you back
do it,
into
right?
reality.
But you have to treat radical Islam and people like Hamas as a cancer. You have to completely cut them out so they can't continue to grow. Then I think the people that have been living there, I will not call them Palestinians. Will not even say that's their land.
Yeah.
But the people that live there, I think that...
That's why I was like, I don't even know what to... That's why I said the people who I guess you would call Palestinians, I don't know what else to call them. But yes, I share your sentiment.
The Arabs that currently reside in Israeli territory.
Sure. That's a mouthful, Jason.
Yeah, I don't know. Is no good? Maybe an acronym I can find for that? I don't know.
I don't know what you're going to do once you eliminate Hamas, because you've already made the point, is by the time they're 5 years old, every cartoon they've seen has been anti-Israel, from the river to the sea, eliminate them, kill them, butcher them, enslave them. And it's such a part of their programming. We eliminate all of them? And then, then you deal with the international outcry of us dropping bombs on.
I think that slogan that you just said will help to see some kind of resolution to this. But when they change it from the river to the Riviera, it improves so much better.
Right.
That is, yeah. That's a lot more catchy. So, all right, let's go ahead and we're going to take a quick break. But I want to remind you guys, if you have not yet hit the like button, now's the time. Make sure that you hit the like button, comment if you're watching this on YouTube, and make sure you're subscribed as well, because YouTube's been engaging in some funny business I keep hearing from you guys. All right, let's thank our sponsor, Birch Gold. So Birch Gold is I know everyone is very, very excited. It's like every day is like Christmas with Donald Trump back in office, but we're still dealing with the ramifications of the Biden era. And let's just face it, gold is a really, really great thing to have to diversify with. Just even if just a little bit, okay, you just should be diversified, and you can really do that with gold and silver because historically it has been stable even in times of crisis. So what Birch Gold can help you do is, if you've got an IRA or a 401k lying around collecting dust, they can help you convert that into an IRA in precious metals, and they're going to do it without costing you a penny out of pocket. But if you're not convinced, do this. Text my name, Sarah, to 989898. They're going to send you a free information kit on gold. There's no obligation. It's just a free information kit. So there's no reason not to read more about it. They're also going to send you a copy of the Ultimate Guide for Gold in the Trump Era with a foreword by Donald Trump Jr. And this is just information. So go check them out. Text my name, Sarah, to the number 989898. All right, I can't wait to hear what you guys think about this next one. Yesterday, President Trump announced a new idea for a path to citizenship for... Jason, get your hand out of my shot. Jason's fidgeting with his watch in the middle of my shot. He announced a new path for citizenship for people, foreigners coming in from other countries that he says could help with our national deficit. Here is President Trump's idea. Watch.
We're going to be doing something else that's going to be very, very good. We're going to be selling a gold card. You have a green card. This is a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus. It's going to be a route to citizenship. And wealthy people will be coming into our country by buying this card. They'll be wealthy, and they'll be successful, and they'll be spending a lot of money and paying a lot of taxes and employing a lot of people. And we think it's going to be extremely successful. And never been done before, anything like this.
I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this. My initial reaction is like, listen, every bureaucrat in DC has done the traditional way of doing things, and we are $36 trillion in debt, and there's no end in sight, and nobody has any plan to fix anything. And I appreciate the thinking outside the box.
You've been able to buy citizenship, passports around the world for, well, forever, decades, usually in tax havens and, banking, money, insurance havens, places like those. But you know what the largest tax haven in the world has ever been in the history of the world? Bigger than all of the other ones put together? What? The United States. Oh. Not for us, but for foreigners.
Isn't that nice?
And so really what he's proposing is nothing that's not already being done all over the planet anyway. It's just that, again, unless you're one of the rich and the elite and one of those people that he referred to, remember in the debate with Hillary, talking about, the tax breaks for the rich and all that. And when he said, you won't change it because your friends benefit from it.
Right.
Well, it's he and his friends have been benefiting from this throughout the world forever. And why not? Let's do it. Let's make some money.
I mean, to Steve's point, this is just a kind of a reimagining of the EB-5 program that already was created. Yeah, so 1990 was when it was created, and it allowed foreign investors to obtain a green card by investing $800,000 in a United States commercial enterprise. And then once they did that, if the investment created at least 10 full-time jobs for United States workers in 2 years, then that person could go on to get a green card.
Okay. So my brain was trying to compute this for a while. So now I think I have a response. I like it because HB5 was kind of BS, because there would be a lot of these people that would be like, remember like when The Bachelor first did like the millionaire or whatever, but you found out later that he really wasn't a millionaire. He just only had like 20 grand to his name, and everyone was like, oh, okay, that kind of sucks. It was kind of like The Bachelor for visa programs, because a lot of these companies or people would be like, yeah, I got like $1 million, but like 750,000 of it was in loans and it was all leveraged, and they'd come over here and they would do these businesses, and it really wasn't worth this, really.
Right.
So this is more of a way to get someone that, for one, they can prove that they are like a high value individual, high net worth individual, and their business is going to be worth something in the United States when it gets here, employing people and making money, for one. For two, I just love the fact that we have an administration and a president that is thinking outside the box.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I love the fact that we can no longer say we're the party of no ideas anymore, or old ideas. Mm-hmm. That's gone. Mm-hmm. We're getting a Riviera in the Middle East, maybe. We're getting in Ukraine, they're doing deals now where...
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So instead of like, this minerals deal.
Yeah.
They're now attaching some kind of transactional value on what we do in the world. If we do provide some of
You're not just getting free money.
You're not just
We're going to get something out of it.
But you're also signaling to our adversaries like Russia that, look, this is not blanket, we're foreign policy because we're such nice people and such, we're so moral and we're better than you are. That goes nowhere and it pisses people off. What we're saying is it's all interest based and it's very transactional. One of the first, so that when you go to the negotiating table, now they know what they're dealing with. Mm-hmm. So now they actually can offer us something, we can offer them something, and we can come to an actual agreement and create peace. You also had Putin right afterwards saying, "Oh, we got a ton of titanium. We have millions of it. You would do a deal with us." Mm-hmm. Wow, we haven't had that in how many years? We haven't had that in decades, because that's not the way we've done things. Things are being done differently now, which is amazing. We've never had new ideas with our broken immigration system. Our system is broken. Now they're coming up with something that not only fixes the HB5 program, which was ridiculous and horribly corrupt, but they're looking into ways to not only do that, but at the same time pay down the debt. Mm. Where has that happened ever?
Mm-hmm.
So, because we have a bunch of entrepreneurs running the country now.
Exactly right.
Instead of lawyers and military guys.
Being ran like a business, like it should be.
Right. Exactly right. And that's why, Jason, you make a great point about this. We're seeing this in every single facet of the new Trump administration, the golden era, the golden age of America, where even if you look at, I was talking to Del Bigtree yesterday, and he has a very great podcast, but he's Maha Alliance, and he was the communications director for RFK Jr.'s campaign. And we were talking about, he's like, yeah, we're coming up with a new food pyramid. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like you guys are actually just blowing to smithereens every single bureaucracy, the red tape, the bad policy, the bad advice, all of that. And they're just blowing it out of the water. And we're like, no, we're just going to chart a new way forward. And how can you tell them that you can't? Because you can look them in the eye and say, well, you can't do that because that's not the way we do things. Oh, okay. Well, we're $36 trillion in debt. Americans are sick. You know, I mean, it's like every single subject that they are tackling. The refutation is just, but what you're doing isn't working because the country is dying, right? So we're going to pick this other way, and we don't really care what you say because even though you have an expert in front of your name, it really doesn't matter because look at what you've done to the country. We're going to try this way and just see how it shakes out. Yeah. And if it doesn't, okay, but what you're doing isn't working. So step aside and let us try. And so, you know, now you see that coming to fruition in like literally every single facet of his administration. It's just been remarkable to see.
Yeah, and what I love about the way they're handling business now is during his first administration, this would have been something they would have unveiled like 1 week. The left would have went crazy on it. Lawyers would have been, you know, preparing lawsuits. Judges would be striking it down. All this crazy stuff. But the way they're doing it now, this is just one big story amongst 3,000 big stories that will happen in the next hour. And they're like, hey, you know, like, what do we do? And they're like freaking out. I guarantee you tomorrow they're not even going to remember this. And it's going to get done. And we're going to pay down some of our national debt. And we're going to have tons of good people coming into the country. And they're going to be contributing to our economy like never before.
Yeah, they said the Guardian said on their website that the new visas for sale scheme is likely to be popular among the global super rich. I'm like, I don't have a problem with that. Great. And they're going to come here and they're going to invest in our country and in our, okay, I don't really care. What, is that supposed to be bad?
Right.
Show me the problem. I don't see one.
Immigration used to be ran in this country where you had to have something of value.
Yes.
You had to have money. They checked you for lice, for crying out loud, when you were coming through. I mean, you couldn't be sick. I mean, it was so, I don't know if discriminatory. It was so selective.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Now, under Joe Biden's reign, right, it went from what you're talking about to, so the guy went straight from the Venezuelan prison. They opened him and he came straight here and we just accepted him and it was fine. He had tuberculosis and COVID and all of these other, but we let him in anyway. Cause who are we to judge, right? I mean, we went from like having actual really, really high standards to just, we're just accepting their prisoners now. So something has to change, obviously.
We're working on that root cause. We're going to send a border czar. We couldn't call her border czar, technically. But yeah, we're going to send...
we could here.
To go figure out those root causes. It works so well.
It took her a while, too. We never did find out that root cause.
No.
We never could find it.
Right?
I never could find it out. It wasn't that we were welcoming them in with open arms and not closing the damn gates. It wasn't that.
No. We were teaching them all how to request asylum or claim
it wasn't that
they needed asylum.
No, it wasn't that.
That was all they did.
It wasn't the CBP One app.
No.
Which just closed down. Was that yesterday?
Yes. Yeah. Not functional anymore. Oh, no. One of my favorite things was whenever President Trump did get into office and you had, what was it? It was like CBP and also I think the military that came to the border to stop people from coming in. And there were people crying that they were too late. And I was like, I don't know what it says about me as a person, but I found that to be very funny.
I saw a CBS video just today where the reporter was on the border and they said that we've been here all day. We have not seen a single migrant. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
And then they spun it into a negative because people that legitimately would be seeking asylum are obviously scared to come now.
You're kidding me.
Where they spun it completely out of proportion to what it really was.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And of course, we're all going, not a single one?
Yeah.
And those people that legitimately have actual, cause, you can go to a consulate.
Yes, right. Exactly.
Go do it the right way. Don't just show up with all your family and be like, we're citizens now.
Exactly.
Go to a consulate. Do it the right way.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, we got to take another quick break, but we poured this ahead of time. Yeah, we've got our new sponsor, Republican Red. We've talked about them. Thank you. You may notice there's a cork floating in here. You can thank Steven.
You're welcome.
You can thank Stephen for that. He's like,
Stephen.
Well, yeah, no, not Steve Baker.
Hey, you got the wine out of there, didn't you?
We did get the wine out, and that's what counts. So Republican red, and I poured you guys some, so you all have some. So let's toast to the golden age of America.
Amen.
Golden age to the golden age.
Cheers. So they've got, hold on, I got to drink wine. Oh, that's delicious.
Nice.
You know what it tastes like? Freedom.
That does taste like freedom.
You know what it tastes like? Patriotism. Okay. So what you can do with Republican red is you can buy, it's not just red wine. Okay. They've got red, they've got white, they've got a sparkling wine as well. They've got a 45-47 Pinot Noir. They've got a golden age sparkling wine. And they're all about paying tribute, of course, to not just conservatism, but our, of course, 45th and now 47th president with some of these. So it's all American. And you know that they share your values. So go check them out. If you love wine, I'm just going to keep drinking this. If you love wine, go to republicanred.com. Support this generational family-run business. And they're dedicated to producing 100% American-made wines. Use code Sarah at checkout for an additional $5 off of your order. Go stock up in the golden age. You're going to need it, baby, because it's nothing but winning, nothing but celebrations. republicanred.com. And use promo code Sarah. So earlier this week, there were some chat logs from the NSA's IntelLink messaging platform that were obtained by researchers from the Manhattan Institute that apparently exposed a transgender sex chat room. Yes, this is the NSA's messaging platform. Okay. And so during business hours, there were employees who were just openly discussing male to female transgender surgeries, castration. They were talking about the faux vaginas. They were talking about pee fetishes. By the way, this would be a good time to say, if you have young children in the room, you should probably,
How often do young children watch Sara Unfiltered?
You know, it's funny that you ask that, Steve. Every once in a while, I'll get someone and they're like, I've been watching you since I was 11. And I'm like, I don't know how much I love that, but this is not sold as a children-friendly show, okay? So they were talking about, talking bad about heterosexuals and discussing group sex. The typical thing that you would think that government employees should be engaging in while on your dime, I guess. And so Tulsi Gabbard yesterday announced immediate action taken upon all of these employees that were engaged in all of these behaviors on government servers. Watch.
There are over 100 people from across the intelligence community that contributed to and participated in this, what is really just an egregious violation of trust, what to speak of like basic rules and standards around professionalism. I put out a directive today that they all will be terminated and their security clearances will be revoked. But the thing here, Jesse, is we got to take a step back because this is just barely scratching the surface. When you see what these people were saying, and thanks to Chris Rufo for putting it all out online, they were brazen in using an NSA platform intended for professional use to conduct this kind of really, really horrific behavior. And they were brazen in doing this because when was the last time anyone was really held accountable? Certainly not over the last 4 years, certainly not over the last 10, maybe 20 years. When we look at some of the biggest violations of the American people's trust in the intelligence community. So today's action in holding these individuals accountable is just the beginning of what we're seeing across the Trump administration.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, this is what happens when you hire based off of DEI. You get a bunch of degenerates who want to gather on government servers and talk about fake vaginas and urine fetishes. I mean, legitimately, like, this is a direct result, I would argue, of DEI.
Yeah.
Why are you hiring these degenerates?
And I think this activity was even justified as in the era of diversity and acceptance and equality and accepting everyone in and different viewpoints, which is just absolutely insane because government didn't used to work like that.
No.
When I was in the intelligence community, any kind of messaging system that we used, which that was a long time ago, so it was probably yellow sticky notes marked with top secret. But no, we did have several like government, like electronic services, and you couldn't do anything personal on those. Nothing personal. You couldn't shoot a message saying, "Hey, are you going to play basketball after work?"
Well, what's personal about talking about group sex, Jason? What would be personal about that?
Right.
It's just team building. That's all it was.
Building.
Right?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, done, with taxpayer dollars. Who knows how long these conversations are going on? And these are, they're supposed to be guardians for America. Mm-hmm. That's what they're supposed to be doing. But instead they're talking about, this crap. I don't think, every time we find out something about DEI, we're like, oh, wow, that's bad. But then we find out, but what we didn't know is, wait, they're targeting our children. Yep. Wow, we didn't know that. Okay, this is a lot worse. Then we find something else out. Like, what else don't we know right now that is still going on? We were talking to some people, whistleblowers in the FBI, who don't even think that, people like Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are going to be enough to actually fix the FBI. It is that systemic of an issue with DEI and all the other abuse. I mean, this is going to take the 4 full years and maybe not even get done at that point. That's how bad it's been.
Yeah, I mean, because you think about how much has been chipped away at with the 4 years of the Biden administration. He, of course, overturned President Trump's prior EO about transgenders in the military. So he told the military departments to immediately ensure individuals who identify as transgender are eligible to enter and serve in their self-identified gender. And then on top of that, you had the National Security Agency director in May of 2021 who approved the agency's first gender identity expression and affirmation policy, the first of its kind to address equal employment opportunity and promote a safe and inclusive work environment for transgender personnel. And then back in October of that same year, he released his plan for diversity across the intelligence community. I recognize the critical importance of ensuring that the highly talented workforce reflects the diversity of our country now and throughout the future. And, he went on to talk about stress in the NSA. In the NSA to stress the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
So they've been doing this for literal years.
Yeah.
It's going to take years to undo.
But how did they go from being absolutely scared to death to even flirt with someone in the office just a few years ago to doing this? I don't know where those swords got crossed, or those laser beams or Ghostbuster beams got crossed somehow, because this is it's almost endemic. And so many other areas, we know about it. I guarantee you that elements of the press, especially the DC press, have known about this. People don't keep these things secret. They talk about it. They leak it. They let it out. It's covered up. I mean, back, 2007, the guy who is now the chief counsel for the Capitol Police, he's going to love me because he actually tried to have me thrown in prison once. His name's Tad Tobias.
Just once?
Oh, yeah. He was caught. When he was an AUSA, an associate or assistant U.S. attorney, he was caught sexting associates in his office. And back then, 2007, the DOJ fired him. He ended up floundering in a couple of, private practices for a while, got back into government, and became the lead counsel for the Capitol Police, where he is today. And when I revealed that little nugget of information, which has been totally scrubbed from the internet, and the DC media the local media has never covered this little impropriety on his part and his position today. When I revealed it, he called the DOJ, from one of our sources, the DOJ, next day screaming, saying, put him in prison.
Wow.
Because I revealed that a few months ago.
Wow.
Or a year and a half ago, whatever it was. But the point being is that even our DOJ would fire somebody for just sexting another coworker back then. How did we get from there to here?
It's interesting you point out that year 2007 because I think it took a big leap in 2008 under Obama. And I always think back to, Michelle Obama, what was that in 2008 when she was doing that campaign appearance in Puerto Rico where she said, Barack knows, that we're going to have to change our traditions, change our history. I mean, they were setting us up for under the Obama administration to take cultural Marxism, a concept that came from Germany, a concept that was designed to create the Soviet Union basically without the violent revolution. Instead of participating in class warfare, to participate in culture warfare. That's what this is all about. And that's why I think it's so important that we not laugh off this DEI stuff.
Yeah.
Don't laugh it off. Don't look at it like, oh, it's good that the Trump administration's, dealing it with the. No, they need to go to war against this ideology because it's cultural Marxism. It's exactly what it is. It's designed to create this oppressor versus oppressed mentality and eventually, lead to a more egalitarian, not an earned, equal opportunity, but an equal outcome type society. That's what it's actually about. That's the end game for it. So it's much more. But Obama started this bull crap. He was the one that first started writing executive orders and starting all this DEI stuff. It went away for a little bit. He didn't have something to really send it overboard. But then Biden had COVID and all of the draconian laws that we had under COVID. He used that and wrote all this DEI crap into COVID response.
Yeah.
They had that catalyst to really push this over. That's why it's so bad now. It was a whole of government response for cultural Marxism, basically. That's how sinister this is.
Yeah. And I mean, you think about the level in which I say this all the time, like DEI kills. It just does. At the end result of it, when you're talking about having DEI policies in the military, having DEI policies for national security, so we're not hiring off of some merit-based system where, hey, for our military, I just want really strong men who are killing machines. That's it. That's literally, I mean, that's not it for some of these positions, but you understand my point, right? Like we don't need to be worried about how many trans we hire to fight for us. We don't need to be worried about how many women. In fact, I don't think women should see combat at all. I don't think that should be controversial because if you ask any man who is out on the battlefield, Jason, who would you trust more to be in a bunker with? You have enemies firing on you, okay? You don't know where it's coming from. You get hit and you have a big, strong dude next to you or a woman. Who do you trust to carry you to safety?
Sarah Connor.
I mean, it's like this should not be controversial. Like DEI kills.
Yeah.
At its end conclusion, it kills. You talk about DEI in the FAA, in the pilot program, ultimately, that kills.
Yeah, I will say that I've known a rare breed of women that if they can meet male standards, it's not the percentage is not very high, but there are a few women where I'm like, okay, that person could actually handle themselves in combat. I say that because
you don't want to piss off all the women who watch the show. I'm not concerned about
not at all, because it goes to the core of DEI. The core of DEI doesn't care about standards.
Sure.
Right.
Sure,
So
exactly.
It has to be equal standards across the board. There needs to be a combat standard. If you can meet that, then you can do it. Well, but I still wouldn't agree for women in combat, because a woman in a foxhole with a man, they're not going to be paying attention the entire time and fire back at the enemy. Let me just put it that way. There's going to be some hanky-panky going on.
Learn that in the Navy.
Yeah.
You know from personal experience?
Not from personal experience. Well, I actually, not from personal experience.
No, not me. No, it wasn't me.
But there was
Very dodgy, Jason.
When I was in Afghanistan, there were several instances when women were allowed to come over with a supply train, which all of a sudden it was like, I don't know how to describe it. It was kind of game on after the men had been in combat for 6 months.
Yeah.
So,
You would imagine.
squirrely things happen with men and women in combat. It's not an equal thing. I'll just leave it at that. Things happen. But standard.
Use your imagination. Okay.
Use your imagination. But DEI does not care about standards.
Right.
So it's the same thing with pilots. Like, I know there's some great, absolutely competent women that can fly planes. Of course there are. But when your standard is DEI, standards go out the window because they're just throwing in a mass amount just because they have to have the quota.
And every qualified woman pilot should hate that policy.
Absolutely
because
hate
it makes everyone doubt.
Piss them off. Yeah.
Yes, it makes everyone doubt. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I guess now's as good a time of any to tell you guys I'm gone next week. So I know sorry, I'm gone. It's my kid's spring break, and I'm terrified to death to get on. I mean, I always was scared to fly, but like I'm terrified to death. If I saw a female pilot, I'd be like, all right, I'm calling my
because
parents.
now you don't know.
Before you
wouldn't have doubted it.
That's what's so insidious about it is that it's punishing the good ones.
Right.
Well, the standard should be, period.
Yes.
If the job is something that other people's lives are in your hands as a result of that job, there should be no DEI whatsoever.
You should just be really freaking good at your job.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter who you are and what you do and what your sex is and who you sleep with. The standard should be absolutely the highest bar that can be set. And then everybody has to achieve that standard in order to get that job.
But DEI says standards are racist and bigoted.
Right.
What world?
Yeah.
How did we wake up in this world?
I know. Well, I mean, there is work to do, but we're at least seeing some important changes on the horizon. Okay. We got to take a break. And then when we come back, I can't wait to talk about the changes over at the Washington Post. I don't know. Have you heard? I can't wait to talk about it with you guys. So we will get into that when we return. The Washington Post making major changes. Jeff Bezos announced he sent a memo out to his staff, and then he posted that memo on X. So he said, "We are going to be writing every day for their opinion pages in support and defense of two pillars: personal liberties and free." I can't even get through this without laughing. Personal liberties and free markets. Viewpoints opposing those pillars will be left to be published by others. He went on to talk about how important these freedoms are to him personally, and how America has benefited from all of these. He said, there was a time when a newspaper, especially one that was a local monopoly, might have seen it as a service to bring to the reader's doorstep every morning a broad-based opinion section that sought to cover all views. Today, the internet does that job. I am of America and for America, and proud to be so. Our country did not get here by being typical, and a big part of America's success has been freedom in the economic realm and everywhere else. Freedom is ethical. It minimizes coercion and practical. It drives creativity, invention, and prosperity. Where was this energy the last 4 years? He concludes, I'm confident that free markets and personal liberties are right for America. I also believe these viewpoints are underserved in the current market of ideas and news opinion. I'm excited for us together to fill that void. Now, it's difficult to know. Actually, I don't think it's difficult to know at all. I'm fairly certain that this is just trying to save what's left of the Washington Post's dignity. I'm not sure how much I do believe that Jeff Bezos feels this way, because it's hard to imagine that he would have. Now, he has clearly greatly benefited from capitalism and free markets and all of these things, clearly. But it's hard to believe that he feels so strongly about all of these beliefs, yet he let the Washington Post run rampant for the amount of time that he did. And now all of a sudden he's like, but nope. We only have to serve, what is it? The personal liberties and free markets. Those are the two pillars that we will be serving. And if you want to give a different opinion, you're free to do that somewhere else. It's just like, come on.
I feel like the Washington Post does this every 4 years, right? The last 4 years, it was democracy dies in darkness. Right? Not the last 4 years, but actually, they do this every time a Republican president gets in office. Actually, what they do. So Donald Trump beat Hillary. They did the democracy dies in darkness. Remember the whole, this is a banana.
Yes,
this is
that
whole thing.
No, that was CNN.
Was that CNN?
I think the banana and orange was CNN.
They did it too. But yeah, they were all like, oh my gosh, now we promised that we're going to, be fair, and we're going to report the news, blah, blah. So now you are. So what they're trying to tell you is now we're not going to be a stooge for, back then it was Obama. We're no longer going to be a stooge for Obama and just his yes man. Now we're going to report the news. But now it's time his company believe us.
is hemorrhaging money,
Exactly.
not his primary enterprise. And he could take on, look, he has enough of the classic FU money to take on the Washington Post as just his, toy,
Sure.
which he could, shape and influence agenda however he wants to. But it is hemorrhaging readership. It is therefore hemorrhaging money. And that's probably what he's responding to. I mean, the handwriting is on the wall. Look who we had today asking questions of the president and Elon Musk inside the cabinet hearing. We had a Blaze reporter, Chris Bedford.
Yeah.
So it's changing.
Yeah, the media is all of the media, all the legacy media. They're in a decades-old model, and they want to stick to that. And they think that they can because they're untouchable.
Ain't happening.
They can do whatever they want. They can say whatever they want, report whatever they want, even if it's hand-fed to them from a regime.
How did that turn out for you, Joy Reid?
Right.
How did that turn out for you?
Joey, did you play that on a show? That what cracked me up about that was she was like, yeah, all this happened. I had value, and then she doubles down on the reasons why she tanked her network and the reason why she how do you have that just complete lack of self-awareness?
I know.
I don't understand it.
I know.
It's the entire media though.
Joy Reid crying for me was like honestly that was a high. That was like a bucket list.
So
a few months ago,
pour some Republican red, and
I did.
sit back and
I
enjoy
did.
it?
I did. Well, and we're all friends here in the conservative media environment. We're friends with the Daily Wire. I do have one of the leftist tears Tumblr, and I'm like, of all the times, we're gonna drink from this one tonight. Thank you, because I do enjoy those leftist tears. Sorry, Steve. What were you saying?
A few months ago, I had lunch with a 2-time Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist from Washington Post. And he had passed me in the hallway at the district courthouse one day, and he leaned over to me, quietly said, "Hey, your story about Harry Dunn and David Lazarus." He's like, "Good job." And so I asked him if he wanted to meet for lunch, and he did. And so he actually did this. He pounded on the table at the cafe that we met at, and he said, "Why do we," talking about the Washington Post, he said, "why do we not know this story?" And I said, and I'm not going to name his name here, but I said, because you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to ask the right questions. And even if you did, it would never make it past your editor.
It's true. Well, to your point, the opinion editor, David Shipley, he doesn't like the new plan. So, yeah,
Exactly.
he doesn't like the new plan. Jeff Bezos said, "I offered David Shipley the opportunity to lead this new chapter. After careful consideration, David decided to step away. We'll be searching for a new opinion editor to own this new direction."
Wow.
They can't stand it. No, you're not allowed to report the truth. You're not allowed to follow the facts. If you don't agree with the narrative, get out. Or in this instance, David Shipley was like, I don't want to follow the facts. I'm just going to leave. I'm going to show myself out. Which really, tells you all you need to know about how the Washington Post has been operating this entire time.
Like regime media.
Yes.
Regime propagandist media.
I believe they received some of that money that was uncovered as well.
Yeah.
There was
The government money that was being doled out to all of the Reuters and the Washington Post,
They all
and the
are.
New York Times.
I believe the Washington Post, they actually they sent out like some kind of message saying that they were no longer going to be offering free subscriptions to the government, that they were now going to charge them for it. And it's hilarious that they did not even see there was any kind of conflict there.
Yeah.
They're paying most of our bills, but don't worry, we'll be fair and balanced.
Right,
We won't hold them to account.
The funny part will be, are conservatives going to buy this? Because liberals are jumping ship. I don't think he wins back conservatives. I think they're done with it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thanks, guys.